Ryan Fallon here, and well, today with today's video, I'm just gonna kind of break it down into two parts. The first part, I'm gonna kind of tell you my story with junk food and what it kind of did for me, and the second part, I'm gonna tell you what my wife and I did to really help us in kick that junk food habit that we had. So, here we go with my story. So, we're going to kind of start off when I was right around 20, 21 years old. And at that time, I was skinny as a rail. There was absolutely nothing to me. In fact, my mother-in-law has told me on a couple different occasions that she remembers the very first time she gave me a hug. And it really surprised her. She could not believe just how skinny I was. She basically said I was skin and bones. So there was nothing to me. I probably weighed about, $140 at the most. So really, I was really thin and skinny. And like I said, that was about when I was 20, 21 years old. Now, that was about the time in my life that it really started to pick up and go quickly. And, life just kind of start to happen around you constantly. And the days go by so quickly, and the weeks go by quickly. So anyways, that's about the time when it really started to do that for me. And as it started to happen, I started to go through the fast food drive-thrus a lot more. I was skipping breakfast. I was grabbing the pre-packaged food that I could just quickly nuke in the microwave at work or while I was at home. I was grabbing energy drinks at the gas station to get me through the day, just because there was so much to do, and I was always hungry, so I was constantly eating chips or grabbing a candy bar in between meals, just constantly. And a lot of that had to do with because I was skipping breakfast, which I won't go into a lot of today, but breakfast is a very important meal of the day. Don't skip it. But yeah, so I was just eating a lot of fast food and junk. And the longer it went on, the more and more that I would eat out and eat the fast food and eat the candy and the chips and the energy drinks and all that junk. And after a little while, it just became habit. So I didn't see anything wrong with it, because it became normal. It's just what I did on a daily basis. I'd get up, I'd run through McDonald's, grab a couple breakfast burritos and a coffee and one of their cinnamon roll things, and, that would be my breakfast, on my way to work, and then, I'd eat junk at work and grab an energy drink, mid-morning, and then another one mid-afternoon, and it just became normal, so I didn't see anything wrong with it. It was just an everyday thing. And to get off my story just a little bit, this is what I think happens to so many people in their busy lives. Everything is just constantly going. You've got work, kids, everything after work, and everything has to get done, and everything else is a priority except for the future health of ourselves and our children, because it has not become a priority anymore. It's just everything else has to get done. And so that's what I believe happens to so many people. And it happened to me. I don't have kids, and I didn't have kids back then, obviously, but that's what was happening. Everything else became a priority. So back to my story. So anyways, it became a vicious cycle. Of more junk food, more fast food, just constant. And it went on for, a little over 10 years. So for over 10 years, I was eating nothing but fast food, the pop in the microwave meals, which, okay, you might say, okay, there's vegetables in there, there's meat, there's some grains in there. And you're right, there are. But they're also loaded with salt, and loaded with fat, and loaded with sugar. So it's not just what's in there, it's what's added into it that makes it the problem. And that's the kind of stuff I was eating. And I guarantee that 90 to 95% of the food that I was eating on a daily basis was junk food. or what I would define as junk food now. And by the time that 10, 11 years went by, I was 130 pounds heavier than I was before. I was constantly tired, I was moody, I had no ambition, and I hated to have my picture taken. I did not like the way that I looked in pictures anymore. And it was because of all the excess weight that I had gained. And so not only were those things that I just mentioned happening to me, I was having a lot of other health issues as well come up and become even more and more problematic for me. I'm not going to get into details. But yeah, so it only took 10 years for all that to happen. And you may think, man, 10 years, that seems like a long time. But it went by just like that. It went by so quick. And like I said before, it happens to so many people. Time goes by so quickly. Now, I'm not going to get into the rest of my story after that. Many of you have probably read the rest of my story in the About Me section at the top of this page. If you haven't, please go ahead and read the rest. You'll see kind of where I went from that point of at my heaviest and worst point to where I'm at now. And even if you haven't or you don't feel like reading, at least go look at the pictures to see the difference over the last 3.5 years. So anyways, now I want to get into how was I able to kick that junk food habit? What worked for me and my wife? Because she kind of went through this with me. And the first thing we did when we really got serious about our nutrition and getting rid of the junk food and really trying to eliminate as much of it as possible was we got rid of everything in the house that was tempting. If it wasn't good for us or if it was something that we should not be having on a regular basis, we got rid of it. We went through our cabinets, our refrigerator. If you have a pantry, you could go through that or whatever it was. But we went through our entire house and we threw away all of our junk food. No more potato chips, no more candy, no more little snack foods that you just always constantly have around the house. We just got rid of it all. Because if it's in sight, or even if it's not in sight, it may be in a cabinet, but if you know it's there, you're going to want it. And if you want it, and it's that accessible to you, you will get up and go get it. You will eventually. You may not the first day, you may not even do it the second day, but you will eventually get up and go get it. And you will overeat it because you have been wanting it for so long. So you will be less likely to eat it if it's not around. And that's what we found really worked for us. Was it hard at the beginning? Heck yeah, it was. It was real hard at the beginning. But we knew that if we would do that, it would really affect other areas of our lives just by focusing on our nutrition. Now, do we ever eat a piece of chocolate now and then? Yeah, of course we do. But in moderation. Do we still go out to eat? Of course we do. But once again, in moderation. Now, we don't really do any fast food because we've been off it for so long that we found that when we do go eat it, it really just doesn't set well with us and we feel like crap. It just makes us feel horrible for that next day, even for the next couple of days. We just don't feel good anymore. But yes, we still do eat that stuff, but just in moderation. Now, we still don't keep that stuff in our house, or we don't have it in our house still, because that way it still keeps us from wanting it on a daily basis. But we do go out every once in a while, to get a scoop of ice cream every now and then as a date. But that's just kind of what we do, and that's what's worked for us. So I just kind of wanted to share that with you because a lot of people go through the exact same thing that I went through and that my wife went through. In that life just gets so busy, you don't even think about it. But when you stop and you look at what junk food really does for you and how it really affects you and it affects your kids, which in return and it affects this country, you will see, and you go back and you look at what you're eating, you'll see just how much better you could do, even if it's just a little bit at a time, like I mentioned in the post. But like I said, I just wanted to share that with you. Hopefully that gives you something to shoot for, or at least try. That's just kind of my goal of this post, is just so maybe people give it a shot. See what happens. See how much better you feel if you just eliminate some of the junk food in your life. And like I said, you may not really have to go as extreme as I've gone, because we hardly ever have it. You got to find what works for you. But I hope that helped. I hope this didn't go on too long. I knew it was going to be a little bit longer of a post because I am so big into the nutrition aspect of fitness. But I hope that helped. So let me know if it did, or if you have any other questions, please get a hold of me or throw down a comment at the end of this post. So until later, adios.